I can hear some of the comments now.
Wow, Banner of War, how very creative and unique. Great build.
Thanks, yeah, I'm the only one that's using Banner of War. No one else on this planet, not the entire population of Titan since 11 AD, is using Banner of War. Just me, no one else. Great that you pointed it out. Thank you very much. Alright, sarcastic intros out of the way. I've scared off the 3 people that would get offended by that joke. Let's move on. So today I am going to be talking about a Banner of War build. However, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a twist on this. The main goal for this is going to be not to tell people, hey, just run the most advanced loadout and learn 18 different things and do infinite grapples with Navigator and this and that. That's like more of a stack team kind of build, or like you're a super endgame player kind of build. And if you're already doing that, then you don't need a build video or any help or anything like that. You know what I mean? I want to make a build where it's super easy, super accessible. It's very, I guess, free-flowing, if you will, where you can go into this solo queue, maybe a duo queue. Maybe you want to just take 2 buddies in that are not as experienced as you into Onslaught, but still try to do a little bit of a carry to 50 waves on Legend if you'd like. That's the idea, anyway. But just to be perfectly clear, we are still using the blueprint of the build in Banner of War, that being bring a 1-2 punch shoddy something, and then punch it in the face with your melee for massive damage. So let's go over the class screen for Berserker. We have Towering Barricade, then we have Strafe Lift. I'm only mentioning the jump because one person's going to get very angry at me and say, why aren't you using Catapult? You suck. And then we have the Grapple here in our 4th column because you can use some neat interactions with this, like grappling onto your Tangle, and then using a Berserker melee to get a nice banner melee off, and then you can actually keep doing your grapple onto a Tangle continuously until that Tangle is gone. And also, you know, grapple can help you get out of situations, or just grapple to an enemy for a 1-2 punch combo. 4 aspects. We have Into the Fray and Banner of War. So Banner of War obviously is for the 2 main things of healing and also doing a F-ton of damage through your melees. And then we have Into the Fray because destroying a Tangle or casting your super will give you Woven Mail, which is great to have as it's nutty damage resist. And also, when you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration is increased. So the idea here is, in a basic combo, if something's like a boss and has a lot of health, you go 1-2 punch melee until all your melees are gone, and then once you do have that done, you pop your super, and in your super you do some additional damage, because, well, it's a super, and then by the time you're out of your super, your melees have actually already regenerated, so you're back to 3 full melees once again. 4 fragments, going from left to right, we have Thread of Warding, picking up an Aura of Power, grants you Woven Mail, again, great damage resist. Thread of Fury in the 2nd column, as damaging targets with a Tangle, grants you melee energy, so you could pick up your Tangle if you'd like and just throw it on the floor, give yourself Woven Mail, and also give yourself melee energy through that. Number 3, we have Thread of Generation, dealing damage generates grenade energy, and finally Thread of Continuity, suspend, unravel, and several effects applied to targets have increased duration. So you can, for example, suspend an Unstoppable Champion in your super, and you have this pop off, and also obviously stun the Unstoppable because you suspended them. Also, this probably would be a good time to mention that Unraveling Orbs in your artifact states picking up an Aura of Power grants Strand weapons Unraveling rounds in the event that you want to also take advantage of Unraveling, but that's completely optional. For our exotic armor piece, we're going to go with All Reliable in Syntheseps, given that Onslaught surrounds you 24/7, pretty much. Syntheseps will be live 95% of the time, except for maybe when you're fighting bosses and you don't want to be up close with them at later waves like 40 and 50. But Syntheseps typically will be procced, which will give you massive damage boost, and why wouldn't you want that? Also, I do want to mention here that you technically could run Worm God's Caress in place of Syntheseps, but again, that's more of the advanced line, at least in my opinion, where you combine Worm Gods with Navigator, Infinite Grapple, and we're just trying to keep it nice and basic here. By the way, in the event that you don't know what I mean by Infinite Grapple with Navigator, I'll just show it off here. So I'm going to get a kill here just for Banner of War. The idea here, well, first of all, let me show you a Tangle here. So the idea with the Tangle would just be this, and then you just melee when you get to your target. Now, with Navigator, it's similar, where I would proc the Navigator Catalyst, pop a thing in the air like so, and then as long as this thing is up in the air, I can go like this, and then go to an enemy, and then melee, look up, swing again, go down, swing again, etc. You just put this above a boss, essentially, and then for as long as this thing is up here, and you aim at it, you can just grapple, melee, grapple, melee, grapple, melee, and every single one will be doing the damage what a normal banner melee would be doing. So, if you'd like to incorporate that into your arsenal, be my guest, but I'm going to keep talking about the basic build here. The weapons I have on this build are going to be the following. In our kinetic slot, we have a shotgun with 1-2 punch. Now, the one I am using is Swordbreaker, the shotgun from Chrono's End, and it has 1-2 punch on it, as well as Pugilist. If you don't know what Pugilist does, it says, final blows with this weapon generate improved melee energy. So ideally, once we've used our melees, and we happen to not have our super, for example, we could use Swordbreaker as just a weapon to kill something and get melee energy back while we're doing it to get our banner melees. Now, I do want to state that it does not have to be Swordbreaker. It could be a different shotgun in the kinetic slot, or it could just be a different shotgun in a different slot in general. You just have to have 1-2 punch on it. But if you are going to use the kinetic slot for your shotgun, there are other options out there besides Swordbreaker, so you don't have to go into Kurozen to get it. There's Regnahill, the original craftable shotgun in the Enclave, and also there's Wastelander, which is a shotgun from Dares of Eternity that also can roll 1-2 punch. And likewise, there are also energy shotguns that have 1-2 punch. You have Without Remorse, you have Ikelos shotgun, you have Retold Tale, you have Found Verdict from Vault of Glass. There's a bunch of them in the energy slot. It doesn't really matter which one you want. As long as it has 1-2 punch, you're good. Now, the second weapon is the Flex Spot. For me, it's the energy slot here. I just go by default to Sunshot because it's just ridiculous this season. The weapon's good. It's unstoppable champions. It can give you Radiant, which would then help you with barriers. It blows stuff up easily. The artifact is like half solar this season, so it's just really synergistic and gives you a bunch of boosts and explosions. So that's just my default. But other people like different things. You know, you got your Gravitons, your Polaris Lances, your Summoners, your Rosaragos, your Bear Bloodlines, your Indebted Kindness. You get the idea. Now, in my last slot for the heavy, I'm going to get a ton of people saying, what the hell is this? Where is it even from? And my heavy slot is filled with a machine gun called Plank's Stride. To answer your question, it is from Season of Plunder, one of the worst seasons we've ever had, so I don't blame you if you have no idea what this machine gun is. The reason why I'm using this particular machine gun, by the way, in case you weren't aware, in Onslaught, machine guns are really good for their ammo economy and just getting through trash mobs, you know, tons of Acolytes, Cursed Thrall, Shanks, etc. Now, a machine gun on its own is fine for Onslaught, but this one in particular, normally it's cheeks. Normally it's terrible. But in this situation, it's actually very viable because this is a machine gun that can roll Pugilist. As I mentioned earlier, on my shotgun, Pugilist allows us to get melee energy back on kills. Now think, machine gun kills trash mobs, get kills, get a bunch of melee energy back. That's the idea. If you're playing by yourself or a duo or you're trying to carry, you want your melees back as much as humanly possible, and you can't just depend on only your super to give you your melees back. Now, I need to stress this, and I cannot stress it enough. This is not for boss phases. This weapon is not ever going to be used during the boss phases of Onslaught. It's only for waves. And remember, for boss phases, before you go in, you will get a rally flag, so you can switch weapons to whatever you want and put a proper DPS weapon on. So with that out of the way, the basic combo is going to be the following. First, you need to either get a melee kill or get a finisher kill on an enemy, or if you want to be real spicy, take off your Sunshot, put on a glaive, get a couple of glaive melee kills, get your banner up, and then switch back to it. And once you have that and your stacks are up, you simply go up to any orange bar or yellow bar you want, you shoot it in the face with your shotgun, and then immediately activate your melee, which will give a Banner of War melee and take a chunk of damage, if not outright kill the enemy. And you can do this for 3 separate melees on your build. Once you do, you could also utilize your grapple to grapple to that enemy, and then 1-2 punch, and then melee for a 4th additional melee. From there, you would utilize either your Pugilist on your shoddy and your machine gun, or if you'd like, you can go straight into your super and utilize your M2 power suspend button, or just the regular melees. Get your melees back, or you can just go into your super and use the banner melee spam there, as well as suspending if you need to for like an unstop. And then when you're out of your super, you will have your melees back for another 3 charges. And now for the mods. As usual, we're going to go top to bottom, starting with Helmet. We have 2 mods in the Helmet. Number 1 is Hands-On. Gain bonus super energy on melee kills. Pretty standard. And then 1 copy of Heavy Ammo Finder, because why would you ever not want extra heavy ammo? In our Syntheseps gloves, we have 3 mods. Number 1 is Impact and Induction, causing damage with a powered melee. Reduces your grenade cooldown, so while you're using your banner melees to slaughter everything, you're also cooling down your grapple. And also you're making an orb, which will give you woven mail. Speaking of which, number 2 is Heavy-Handed. Your powered melee final blows create orb of power. So you get a melee kill, pick up that orb, you now have woven mail, and you're basically unstoppable as it is. And in the 3rd slot, we have just Fastball, because I don't have any room for anything else. But if you're not rocking a mod like a Resilience mod in this slot instead, then you can swap this out for another grenade or melee mod instead of Fastball. In our chest, it's always Resist. Always 1 Void, 1 Solar, and 1 Arc. That's how it's always going to be for a Legend Onslaught. And then you want to have a second extra chest piece for reserves in the event that you want to go to a boss fight and then have, like, 12 Galley rockets, 12 Dragon's Breath rockets, whatever it may be. In our boots, we are not rocking Surge mods. We're actually rocking 3 different mods. The first being Recuperation, to replenish health each time I get an orb. Then we have Better Already. Your health begins to regenerate immediately after picking up an Orb of Power. And lastly, Absolution to reduce the ability cooldowns each time that you pick up an Orb of Power. And to close the armor out, we have our class item. We have 3 mods. The first 2 are copies of Outreach, which reduces your melee cooldown when using your class ability, your Barricade. And then finally, Distribution to reduce all ability cooldowns when using your class ability. So just another way to get your melee and grenade back faster. If you enjoyed the build, or maybe you just enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow, and is much appreciated. We're trying to hit that 40k, maybe even 50k by final shape. We'll see. I don't know about that, but you never know. And as always, I'll have the dim link for the build in the description below, which you can also find my Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, all the T's, community Discord, all that hashtag solid stuff. You know the deal. But if you just want to support the channel on YouTube, you can also leave a like and or comment below. It does actually help, believe it or not. And if you don't know what to comment, you can simply leave Banner of War as the comment. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.